Welcome, family, to another episode of Learning Outside of the Box, the Homeschooling Chronicles, where I, Coach Sakile, a proud mama of 6 homeschooling children and co founder of Embrace Your Free, will be your host with over 2 decades of homeschooling experience. I've assisted over 7,000 families on their homeschooling and world schooling journeys, and I'm also the operator of an amazing, empowering Black Homeschoolers Unite community. So, throughout this podcast, we will celebrate the diversity and creativity of Black homeschoolers, sharing inspiring stories from families who have found their unique path to success. Homeschooling is all about breaking free from the one size fits all approach to education. And we'll explore this through interviews, conversations, and valuable resources. So stick around to the end for a special treat, a free copy of my latest book offering A to Z steps to getting started with homeschooling. And also join us on this exciting adventure, whether you're a Black family curious about homeschooling or seeking guidance from experienced homeschoolers. This podcast is the place for you. So let's embark on this thrilling voyage of learning outside the box, the Homeschooling Chronicles, and together we'll challenge the norm, broaden perspectives, and embrace the limitless potential of homeschooling outside the box. Remember, sharing is caring, so invite a friend or two along for the journey. So feel free to invite some friends. And now it's my greatest pleasure to introduce our esteemed guest today, LaQuinda, who will be sharing her remarkable journey as a dedicated homeschool mom. Over the past 3.5 years, she has navigated the transition of her 9-year-old child from public school to Montessori and unschooling, resulting in a growth filled experience filled with invaluable lessons. But wait, there's more. LaQuinda will dive into the transformative power of embracing obstacles as opportunities, embarking on a path that revolves around providing our children's education while pursuing our dreams and achieving financial stability. This creates a win win situation for all involved. So prepare to be inspired as we uncover LaQuinda's vision of homeschooling, which serves as a gateway to unparalleled freedom and transformative learning experience. Together, we will unlock the potential of harmonizing our children's education with the pursuit of our own aspirations, all while attaining financial success. So join us on this incredible journey and let's welcome the beautiful, amazing LaQuinda.
Hello, 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 hello. My
Hello. You're getting
pleasure.
a lot of
Hello.
love already.
Hello, hello.
Hey, hello, more hellos.
Yes, I see all the hellos. Oh,
So welcome, welcome. So happy to for you to be here to share your story. So I want to start off with, what made you take this road less traveled? What gave you the inspiration, the desire to begin homeschooling your 9-year-old daughter, right? And happy birthday to her. She
yes.
just had a birthday, right?
Yes, she just
My
had a
birthday twin.
birthday. Just had a
Yeah.
birthday. Yes, she just had a birthday. Yes, she did. So my journey actually just starts like everyone else. It wasn't something that I had planned to do. As an educator, being in the classroom 14 years, my path was like everything education, going, sticking to the classroom, you're going into the classroom, and that's about it. So, what actually happened, my daughter was attending a theme school. And based on attending the theme school, she would finish off her assignments. And prior to her being enrolled at this particular magnet school, or excuse me, theme school, I did speak to the teacher and just let her know that my daughter, she will most likely will finish off her assignments, and she will need to be challenged, because at home I'm having conversations with her, we're working on activities, so my expectation is the same. However, it was not transferred. When she was at the theme school, she actually finished off her assignments and she was tasked with helping other students, and that was a non-negotiable for both of us, our parents, and we said no. So prior to the pandemic, I actually had reservations. I was like, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just let her finish out the year. And then something said, no, that's it. It's your time. So from that point on, that's where our journey began. And I will say that it was the best decision that I've ever made. Mhm.
I love that. And I think that what you're sharing is a lot of families can relate to, where
Mhm.
our children are brilliant. Right? I feel
Mhm.
like our children, when they do stats, like they raise their heads, before they're crawling, they're
Mhm.
moving, they're talking, they're engaging at rates much quicker than other groups of people. And so our children are really brilliant, but if they're not challenged, if the bar is
Mhm.
not set for them, they won't rise. But
Mhm.
having
Yes.
parents like you seeing like, no, this is not right, my child is not engaged, what leads to boredom and then them acting
Mhm.
out and losing their love for learning can end up being an issue. But I love that you are able to spot that and take action and make it happen. So
Yes.
you mentioned before that you are like a Montessori type of unschooler teacher, kind of educator
Yes.
for your daughter. Can you tell us a little bit about it? I love the Montessori approach and unschooling, so I'm a big fan.
So yes, so with the journey, trying to, you know, as far as structure, I was like, okay, well, what is it that we're moving towards? So every year, as we prepare to homeschool, I have a conversation, or we sit down and we have a conversation as far as, is this something that we still want to do as far as our journey? And it's always a yes. I wanted to hone in on, of course, her being a unique individual. I wanted to make sure of that. I wanted to make sure that she was in a caring environment with individuals that were going to support her. I wanted to make sure that the limitations as far as freedom, that there weren't any limitations for clarity, that there weren't any limitations, in that we dove into what interests her. And it was self-directed, and we're just guiding you on this particular journey. So that has been beneficial. So then with the unschooling approach, it's like, okay, I realize sometimes mornings is not a good fit for her. So as a result, it's like, okay, our schedule, because at the beginning it was like, okay, we wake up at this time, we're going to do this, and then it was like, that's not working. That was setting too many restrictions, because if this didn't happen at this particular time, I would beat myself up and say, okay, this isn't working.
Mm,
So once I started to take on the approach of, having her involved and saying, hey, what is it that you want to do, so we can steer this ship in that particular direction. So it's a combination of both altogether. And like I said, that has been the best choice, best option for us.
I love that. I love how you're sharing how it's a collaborative effort. Like you check
Mhm.
in with you and her father and her to
Mhm.
see like, is this working? Will we move
Mhm.
forward this year? She has a voice. So it's like
Mhm.
when our children feel like they're invested and they have a voice, they tend to be more eager to learn and more excited,
Yes.
which just makes things much more fun for
It
everyone involved.
does.
It's just a
It
more pleasant environment. So I think
It does. And we set up a theme every year based on, what it is that she wants to embark on. So her school, or our school, is called Alana's World of Exploration. So
mm,
she wants to explore different things. So every year, like I said, there's always a theme aligned to her adventure, what new adventure she's going to take on.
nice. I almost hear like a
Mhm.
tinge of like unit based with the which is kind of
Mhm.
thematic. So it's just like you have a
Mhm.
theme that you
Mhm.
just teach out of, and you can basically choose a theme in math and science and field trips
Mhm.
and what you're reading and all of that, the spelling words can all come out of that theme or adventure that Alana's having. So that is really
Yes.
brilliant. I love it. So can you share some of the perks of homeschooling once you began this journey? What have been some of the
Wow.
positives?
Wow, there is a list as far as our ventures now for me stepping out of the classroom and, of course, being an entrepreneur. My daughter is able to see that journey. And, of course, she wanted to start her own business. So she started her own business in which we just came back from a conference, a kidpreneur conference, a young moguls conference. So she was able to plan her next steps as it relates to her business, what she wants to do as far as her options. So my daughter is vegan, so she wants a vegan. Vegan candy, vegan selections, more healthier choices. So she has outlined exactly what it is that she wants to do because she did have some candy machines, but she said, her unhealthy choices. So she said she wants to stream more towards the vegan options because that's who she is. So she wants to represent her brand. And I said, oh, okay, all righty. So we're making that shift. We're making that shift. And then the other pro is the time that is actually spent with her. She understands, or showing her just daily ins and out of life, nurturing her, being there for her. As far as additional pros, she's able to travel. Flexibility. I just sum it up. Flexibility. That's what's key. That's what's key.
I love that. So
Mhm.
your daughter is able to really focus on what's important to her. And I love that she's already a mogul, young mogul entrepreneur.
Yes.
Reach out to me
Yes.
when the vegan candy is together because we've been plant-based for 23 years and my children have been
Oh,
born and raised, yeah, plant-based. And so, yeah, they've never had meat, which has
oh
been amazing,
wow.
and they don't eat
Yes.
candy, but it would be great to find a nice alternative that doesn't have the preservatives, that doesn't have the
Mm-hmm.
high fructose and the dyes that we know cause
Yes.
hyperactivity and ADHD and neurotoxins and all that that's in the
Yes.
candy. So our
Yes.
children, I'm sure, would be thrilled to find out about
Yes.
some vegan alternatives. So I love
Yes.
it,
Yes.
and I love that you spoke on like the freedom and flexibility to
Mm-hmm.
travel, which
Mm-hmm.
is amazing as a world schooler. So,
Yes. Yes.
experiential learning is so powerful. Our children really do retain so much more when they're actually able to
Yes.
travel and experience what they're learning. And then it's
Yes.
just like it's just more fun.
It surely
So
is. It surely
we're
is. It
all part of
surely
the
is.
fun. I love
Exactly.
that.
And like you said, there really isn't everything is customized based on her needs at this particular time because her needs changed from when she was 5 to now being 9. So now having an awareness of who she is, a conscious awareness of who she is as an African child. What does that entail? Knowing where you come from, where you're going, having those conversations with her as well. That's where we're bringing her into. So that she can say, you know what, I have an awareness of who I am, where I'm going. In addition, I understand my purpose, my path throughout this actual journey. Mhm.
I love that. I love that you're able to support her and her individual values, and you give her the space to be able to critically think and come up with those values and principles. And I'm sure you live a very valued and principled life to be that example for her,
Yes.
but it's
Yes.
amazing to see that,
Hmm.
like when I wanted to be vegetarian at age 7, my parents were like, you ate
What
chicken
is that?
yesterday and you're going to eat chicken today. No.
Yes. So
So
yes,
that you're
it's
able to support her.
yes, it's truly, like I said, a balance as far as even with the conversations because when she's speaking to individuals, she lets them know, hey, this is something that's my choice, because, they may think that, parents are forcing it on her. And it's like, no, she's able to tell you the reason behind why she does not eat this or why she chooses to eat this. And they're like, they have a deeper appreciation. They're like, wow. Oh, and she's how old? I'm like, yeah, that's her. She will actually ask, what are the ingredients? She asks those questions, so that she's very much aware. So having that awareness, and like I said, just with the support of just family and friends, and of course, parenting or parents, us having discussions or continuous discussions as far as, what is the next step, because we also want to for her to realize that, yes, individually, yes, we all have goals individually, but as a unit, there's so much more that we can do as a unit. So she understands that there's no I in team.
I love that. That's really, really powerful. Now that we've spoken about some of the perks and the benefits that you've had, which are amazing, can we talk about some of the obstacles that you had in this homeschooling journey and how you were able to overcome them?
Yes, so I know for sure this is something that I have been or dealing with for since homeschooling, since I first started. Um, time management. Time management is something that, um, when I started out on this journey, seeing if I had the time, like, I don't have the time, I can't do this, I can't dedicate this, what am I supposed to do? I had to set aside that time, dedicate that time to say, you know what, this is non-negotiable for my daughter. This is non-negotiable for our family. So this is what's at the forefront. So other things have to take a back seat. So I have my log, like a daily log, as far as what is it, agenda, as far as what is going to take place for that particular day. And then as I cross it, I check it off. And then if I don't get to it, it's like, okay, it's there for another day. I can put it towards the next day. So that was something that, due to the fact that being an educator, that structure, like I have to do it by this time, I had to let go. I had to let
Mm,
go of that and say, you know what, I can't do that. That's not working for me or my family. It's still a work in progress. It's still a work in progress, because with the daily ins and out of being not only a homeschooling mom, but an entrepreneur, there's finding that balance to say, hey, shut it off. I know that I need to shut it off, and that's it. That is something that is truly a con when it comes to homeschooling, but it can also be turned into a pro, because once again, when you have that daily outline as far as what you're going to do and having that support system, it can balance, because my partner, he always says, hey, that's our sacred time for family. This is our
mm.
time. Nothing comes between this time and this time. Shut it off. My cutoff time, as far as my cell phone, 10 o'clock. He's like, shut it off. Let's shut everything off by 10, because you need to be well rested. Because if you're not well rested, then you're going to be groggy the next day. So,
Sure.
mhm.
Very brilliant young man. Supportive
Yes,
partner.
very
But that's
supportive. So
good.
he's the balance. To be honest, he is the balance, because without him, I would be like, oh, no, we have to do this. And he's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. And that pressure was taken off of just per se me. It's the combination of the both of us balancing it out, because anytime that they're feeling a little stress, or the balance is off, he's like, hey, we need to ground. We need to step into the garden. You know,
Mm.
that's what we need to do. You need to meditate. So those are things that he is always enforcing.
Right. So what I'm hearing is a couple things. Like one thing to do to help you in terms of balancing is having a nice support team, like people that can support you, to remind you, and maybe people that you can even delegate some tasks to,
Mhm,
or to remind you,
mhm.
like, I need to, like, can you
Yes.
hold me accountable in this way? And then also
Yes.
having that priority management, like, what is the most important things I need to get done in the day? And maybe part of
Mhm.
it is taking care of yourself. And so doing
Yes.
what you can do, and then knowing when to, like, okay, let's save this for
Yes.
another day. It's all good. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like an
Mm-hmm.
emergency. The world is not going to come to an
Yes.
end. She's definitely making some
Yes.
progress. So I love
Yes.
that. Oh, so much sharing. I love the
Mhm.
grounding part.
Oh, the grounding.
That's so,
Yes.
so
Health is wellness. Health
important.
is wellness.
Yes. So, you were sharing that you are a entrepreneur, a business owner. So, can you tell us a little bit about, how you're able to make a living while you are homeschooling, and then also how we can support you in your business? But we first want
Oh,
to hear all about
perfect.
your business.
Alrighty. So my business was actually a series of unfortunate events that actually happened. I was
Oh.
actually on bed rest. Freak accident. My vehicle shifted out of gear and grazed my thigh. So while I was on bed rest, I realized that there has to be more. I mean, I was sitting in the bed and I was like, no, only thing I know about is being in the classroom teaching. That's it, nothing else. And I just had these visions, the Lord speaking to me saying, hey, this is not the end. You need to take everything that you have shown out throughout these years as an educator, you take that and you turn it into your own. So that's where Lady Quinn Enterprise was birthed. Um, Literally. Lady Quinn Enterprise, it's an innovative educational consulting agency where we offer various educational solutions or various educational services, from
Mm.
tutoring to professional development workshops, strategic planning, curriculum development, you name it. We're here to empower, equip, and innovate you to the next level. So we service whether you're 5 to 105 as far as your educational journey, private, public, as well as homeschooling sectors as well.
Nice. So it's called Lady Quinn Agency
Yes. Lady Quinn Enterprise.
Enterprise. I want to put that
Yes.
on there. Lady Quinn Enterprise.
Yes. Yes. And
Is that right?
everything is customized. Let me see on
Okay.
LADIQUIN. Yes.
Okay.
And everything is customized based on our particular clients. So nothing is just pulled from, your hand. I like to say my hand me downs. No, everything is customized based on your
Mm.
needs.
Oh, wonderful. So you are like an educational consultant that really, like you said, customizes to the family's unique needs. I love that.
Yes, because
And
I
mhm,
I was the individual that one shoe did not fit for me. One shoe does not fit all. So with my agency, with Lady Quinn Enterprise, I wanted to showcase that and exhibit that you can have tutoring, you can have professional development workshops because it all falls under the umbrella of educational services. So why not have it all?
exactly. And can you give us a site where we can find
Yes.
more about you?
Perfect. Yes. www.ladyquinenterprise.com. So you will see
Awesome.
information, all the information as far as Lady Quinn Enterprise and our next ventures.
Okay, beautiful. I love it. And so tell us a little bit, your daughter, she sounds like she's very precocious, bright little girl. So how are you able to, if there's topics that may be outside of your scope that she's interested, how will you be able to make sure that she gets the guidance or the lessons or the resources that maybe you're not able to teach her? Like, how would you go about that?
So I understand, and this was a conversation that I actually had with her the second year of homeschooling, because the first year it was just the two of us actually managing her education as far as homeschooling. So a dad, he was taking care of gardening with her, which is falls under life skills, things that he felt would equip her. And then I took on language arts, reading, writing, things of social studies, science, then and even include math. He was responsible for math as well. But it came to the point at that end of that first year, having a conversation with her and letting her know, Alana, we may need some additional support for those subjects or those things that you have asked or inquired about that you're seeking knowledge on. And I said that may be something that is not out of our touch or out of our scope, but we just need some additional hands-on or support. And I was just having a conversation with her. She said, if we need to get support, it's okay. I'm open. I'm open to having individuals, um, fill my cup. And I was like, oh, okay. All righty. You're open
Wow.
to those individuals filling your cup. Okay. So I said, are there any limitations? She was like, no, there are no limitations. There can't be limitations. So as far as a outsourcing, we have utilized OutSchool.
Okay.
We even embarked with a co-op where it's led by parents and just offering various support in different subject areas or content that she would need support with. So we're okay with outsourcing the information because when we look at it, it takes a village. It takes a village.
Yeah.
So we don't know everything. And we don't want her to think that, okay, mommy and daddy, they know everything. They're the only two as far as my resources. No, there is a village. So we have individuals that will support her.
I love that. And I just thought about that because you were mentioning how your daughter just came from like a retreat with the young moguls. And so doing
Yes.
different activities like that to really expand her and be around other young entrepreneurs. You mentioned like there was 18, 16 or 18, 20-year-old millionaires that she was
Yes,
able to connect with.
yes,
So
yes. So raising a mogul, like that was an experience like no other because I witnessed it for myself, just seeing the parent managers. That's what we were called, parent managers, and just then the kids. Just what they bring to the table. So there were there were various workshops, one for the young moguls and then one for the parent managers. And then we were all brought back in together. So giving them that space, that time, as far as letting them develop their ideas, their concepts, and then coming back together and just talking about it. And then just on our end, just tips on what we can do to help our young mogul.
I love that. I love that. Because you do have the educational background, there's so much that you can provide, but also
Mhm.
giving her the community because she is the only child. So, how are you able
Mhm.
to deal with like socialization that so many
Yes.
homeschoolers are
Yes.
concerned with?
Yes, so she is by birth my only child, but she has two brothers and a sister. So
Okay.
bonus babies. So they went
Nice.
to public school. Yes, everyone went to public school. So she is the only child that is being was homeschooled. So it
Okay.
was a new experience altogether. So just to add into that component, because we love our bonus babies.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I love it.
Oh, so go
So
ahead.
it's
I'm
great.
sorry, you asked a question. You asked me a question, so
Oh,
I wanted to
I was thinking, just asking about how are you able to make sure that she is socialized? Because that is a common question with homeschooling parents that they get from well-meaning family members and
Yes.
friends. All that.
Yes. So my my daughter, she takes my personality when it comes to socializing. We're social butterflies. We will talk to a butterfly, and that butterfly will talk to us. So socializing, she never had an issue as far as socializing. We would have meetups at the parks. We would have lunch dates as well. Meet up at different restaurants. different restaurants. So she's never been an individual that it was socially awkward for her. And then, like I said, last year we were enrolled at a co-op. So she was able to, of course, have some additional socializing, but she's never had an issue with socializing at all.
I love it. Yes, I feel like that's a myth. Like, we don't just keep our children locked in a box.
Look,
They get
if
out
I
and play
did
with
that,
other children.
if I did that, it would be disastrous because like that's just her personality. She just likes talking to people, getting out there, just it just actively seeking not. She's just that individual. She just wants to talk.
Yes,
So she
I
has a lot to say.
understand.
So sometimes you have to say, okay, Alana, we have to go. We have to do this. And she's like, oh, can I get your number? She carries her little, when she goes to the park, like, I told her, let individuals know who you are and so forth. She's like, okay. So she thought of a plan. She said, okay, because I may not remember their name, their numbers, I'm going to bring my pad with me and I'm going to ask for their name and their number. And then I'll communicate with them. I was like,
Oh,
oh, I was like,
love
yeah, but remember you're
that.
playing. I said, remember you're playing. So you're just going to pick up your pad and just run over there. I was like, awkward, but you do you, have fun.
Yes, she'll figure it out, and I'm sure the
Hmm.
children will be very excited that someone is interested in getting their phone number and remembering their name. Like, oh, I must be
Yes.
important for her to like
Yes.
actually ask and take the time to write it down. You know, that's how
Yes.
I would feel.
Yes.
But again, she
Yes.
is my birthday twin, so
Yeah, that birthday
so
twin. Hmm.
yes. So, can you tell me a little bit about, your daughter being, African descent, a Black, beautiful girl? And can you
Hmm.
tell me how you're able to add her culture into your educational homeschooling process?
Yes. So for this upcoming school year, we have decided to, since she's older now, we are embarking on a journey as far as, like I said, bringing that awareness to who she is, understanding her culture, where you come from. That's the focus for this school year. So
Nice.
we have a group of mothers have come up with a co-op, which we're calling it Conscious Connections, where we are
Mm,
connecting. Yes, we are connecting with our roots, understanding where we come from. Everything will be intertwined as far as that awareness. So that is
mm,
rooted in excellence. That's what it's all about. So that's what we're going to be doing for this year. It's not saying that she didn't have it in the past, but no, this time as far as the continuous awareness. So the curriculum, everything is designed for us by us. That's the whole understanding. So that old acronym FUBU, that was truly in mind. So when she's focusing on her math lessons, she's going to get that history behind math from the African perspective, where everything was where it stemmed from. So that's what she's going to do. She's going to explore that and dive into that this particular year.
Awesome. Well, this has been so amazing, this conversation. So, what we're going to do is I want you to share how they can get in contact with you, and then we're going to open it up to questions.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes. So if you need to get in contact with me, my email, LaQuinda, which is my first name, at Lady Quinn with a I instead of a Y, QuinnEnterprise.com, and then contact by cell 404-490-0046. And if, of course, if
uh,
you're in Georgia, if they're in Georgia, as far as our Conscious Connections co-op, if you're definitely interested in that, please most definitely reach out because once again, it's parent led. So our team of mothers and fathers, everything will be parent led.
that is powerful because it's like when you're parent led, you love the children. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
next, not to say that our teachers aren't amazing, but it's just like when it's your children and there's like additional love, you really pour your all into it to the next level to make
Yes.
sure that your children are successful. So I love
Yes.
that. They're
Mm-hmm.
truly invested on a whole deeper level. So,
Yes.
yeah, someone says keep that energy rolling. Woo, woo, woo. So now we're open to questions. So if you have any questions for LaQuinda, about homeschooling or, this conscious connection or having a
Yes.
brilliant child mogul or
Yes.
entrepreneur or anything like that, this is the time to ask because she
Mm-hmm.
is doing some amazing things. So,
Yes.
yeah. Let's see. Any
Any
questions?
questions?
'Cause you have been dropping the gems left and right.
Oh, oh, thank you, thank you.
Yes. But here's some comments that I didn't read from earlier. So
Okay,
it's like, if they're not challenged, they won't be
okay.
engaged. That is definitely true. I'm currently facing the situation with my own child. And then
Yes.
another family said, "I had to basically wire my kids completely." I guess she's talking about
Mm-hmm.
the deschooling process that is so
Yes.
important.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So sometimes our kids in public school are forced to shrink and not fully be the brilliant individuals that they are. That
Yes.
is so true.
Yes.
It is so sad. I see
Yes.
little children go in at kindergarten and they are
Mm-hmm.
like so excited with little book bags and like we're gonna learn. And by the
Mm-hmm.
time like the end of third grade comes in, they look
Mm-hmm.
like so they dread school, a nice percentage
Yes.
of them, because school
Yes.
only really teaches to a certain type of intelligence. Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
two main types of intelligence, but there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole array, of different intelligences and personalities to teach to. But a lot of
Yes.
times,
Yes.
you know,
It's
that
not.
is not the case. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of our children are left to the wayside,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, and are
Mm-hmm.
just passed
Yes.
along and
Mm-hmm.
don't really get to have their genius cultivated like you're doing for your
That
daughter,
that is true. That is true. And
Yeah.
when I was in the classroom, I taught middle school, middle school students, which would be grade 6th through 8th grade. And with that in mind, they were like, "Oh, wow, like your your future. Like, do you realize you're this step closer to your adulthood?" And you don't know this. I said that's what we're supposed to be. That's what you're supposed to be prepared for. That was the understanding, and most definitely, as far as Alana goes or my daughter goes, I wanted her to have that understanding as it's building upon different concepts, so that when you become an adult, you're well equipped, you're a well rounded individual, you're complete as a whole
Mm,
person. Hmm.
exactly. I agree completely. So, can
Hmm.
you tell us, let's see, someone has a question
Okay.
and they're asking, let's see, can you please share some pros and cons of using the Montessori approach as a homeschool family?
Oh,
Do you
okay.
know?
Yes. So pros that I've spoke about was, being a unique individual where it's self-directed based off of her needs. That
Mhm.
is something that has been a pro because it's having a conversation with her, or having the conversation with her to where she feels comfortable to say yes. I want to focus. I want to focus on this, or no, this isn't working. Now, there are some things that are, like, of course, non-negotiable. When we talk about, character development, that was something that's not on her radar as far as having a of having a conversation within our model. However, there are certain things that we do implement in there for her because we need to make sure that, of course, your character overall is developed. So that's one. Some individuals may say, as far as the caring community, if you don't have a supportive community, that may be turned into a con. In our case, we have a supportive community where we had individuals that were like minded. For the individuals that were unsure or didn't know what it was all about, having that conversation with them and them seeing it in action, because sometimes people have to see it to understand where you're coming from. The opportunities as far as freedom, the flexibility, that is, of course, a pro, but with that freedom comes a con of, if you don't time, or if you don't plan as far as your time management, it could come across as a con. Um, Knowing your child's learning style, pro, having that conversation is all about dialogue as far as having that conversation with your child, knowing exactly where their interests are, because sometimes as parents we tend to say, oh no, this is what we're going to do, and then the kid is like, no, that's not something that I want to do or I understand. So breaking it down to where she is able to understand, and making sure that we're supporting, of course, emotional needs, because we have to, based on everything that has taken place, you have to keep in mind the emotional skills that are going to be needed for your child, especially in this particular environment.
Absolutely. And I love the Montessori approach. Before I was thinking of homeschooling, I was thinking Montessori,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of the family, none of the families look like my family where we were living
Mm-hmm.
at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I don't know. But I love the fact that they really believe that children come in with this light, this desire to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Like learning and knowledge is innate in them. And so it's not like we
Mm-hmm.
need to force our children to do it. They're eagerly, if you create a nice environment of play and
Mm-hmm.
fun and let them
Mm-hmm.
self-direct and learn, that they're going to want to learn
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to like be
Mm-hmm.
like just little sponges and absorb it all, and just being
Mm-hmm.
really sensitive
Yes.
to your child's needs, being in tune with them
Yes.
as
Mm-hmm.
individuals, not just a cookie cutter, one size, like all
Mm-hmm.
children are the same, being like really attuned to your children. So I love
Yeah.
what you
Yes.
had to
Yes.
say,
And
and
it
I
did not
love.
work. It did not work when I tried to go in and say, okay, this is what we're doing today. And when I originally started, there was, it was not on the same page. And it's like, okay, well, you should be done with this. The educator, Vitaly, you should be done. Let's go. I know
Yes,
you.
yeah,
It's like, but
yeah,
this is not what I want to do right now. This is not
exactly.
self-directed. So having that balance and communicating. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So Di says, my child was always different, or either I had grown up and become fully aware of the system at play on our children. I had begun homeschooling prior to COVID. Everyone asks all type of crazy questions. My son is self-taught reading, and we use everyday interactions to school. I love
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yes,
That is
yes, that is
brilliant.
key. Yes,
Yes.
because remember even when I could think back to, trying to come up with the plan or what we were going to do, I thought about it. I said, when we go on our daily journeys, whether we're in the car, we're riding, like I'm riding past the sign. I'm like, okay, this is the sign. I'm teaching you directions and I'm teaching you how to read along the way. So those were moments that we had. And it's like, it's outside of these four walls. We can expand out. And that's when my mindset just ultimately changed about everything. So that's why I said it's a combination between Montessori and unschooling, because we create our own journeys. We create it based off of what you need, and that's
Yeah,
all that matters.
I love that. And Taylor said, thank you so much. It was very helpful.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're
And
welcome.
Vanessa says, I have a daughter that is shy and doesn't communicate well. Do you have any suggestion, please? Also, it depends on what age she is and what
Mm-hmm.
stage.
Yes, so Vanessa, if you could drop that in the chat for us so that we can know what age, because I don't want to give you misinformation. For instance, if I'm telling you this, giving you this piece of advice, and it's more so towards a 9-year-old, oh, 13. Oh, yes, I love that age as a
Yeah.
teacher.
Yes,
Okay,
'cause you're a
so
middle school
13, yeah, middle
teacher,
school,
so
that was, yeah. Yes. So therefore, as far as your daughter being shy and doesn't communicate well, I think having a conversation with her, because more so what we're saying is you're saying your daughter, she's shy and she doesn't communicate. That means she's not initiating the conversation with you. However, if you come in, let your guard down, not as, the mom role. If you just go in and just have a conversation with her, hey, how is it going for you today? And just starting that communication where she sees you let your guard down, and it's like, okay, I want you to create that safe space, and you have to tell her that. In which I tell my daughter, this is a safe space for you. Anything that we do, we talk about, as long as it's not something that's harmful to you, like where we have to seek some medical attention or something. I said, this is a safe space. This is your safe haven. You have nothing to worry about. And so she has let her guard down. And even when we were at the conference, one question that was asked, do you feel comfortable expressing yourself to your parents? If you do feel it comfortable, raise your hand. And her hand was the first hand that went up, because we have those conversations, we have those chats, we have those talks. And there are conversation starters in which that information can be disseminated to you. But I purchased some conversation starters because sometimes you really don't know what to say. So with the conversation starters, it's just a series of questions that are just random, and it will allow her to let her guard down, and it would allow you to have your guard down, because you're going to be answering the questions with her. They're conversation starters, and you can get them on Amazon conversation
I
starters.
love that. That's brilliant. Um, I love the idea with the conversation starters. I have 2 daughters, and one is a little bit more outgoing and one is more shy. And believe it or not, I was like a shyer child. So what I would do, like even now to this day, like there's just certain conversations I'm not comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to let my friends or family know that, like, give me some time to come back,
Mm-hmm.
and I will write out, because a lot of times my mind, it takes a while for it to process. So it may just be she's
Yes.
shy because she's very internal and she's just thinking over and ruminating and thinking
Mm-hmm.
like, how is this going to affect people or what I want to say. So what I would
Mm-hmm.
do is like, that's a great question. Let's come back to it. And I would write out,
Mm-hmm.
like, once it came to me
Mm-hmm.
exactly how I felt. And then I would go back and I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to talk about it. I got my handy dandy notebook and,
Uh-huh.
and so
Or
now
a
I
jerk.
can have the time to talk about it. But not all of us are like able to take a question and just spit it out. Some of us take
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more time to process, and just giving her the space and the words to say like, okay, I would love to talk about this, but this is not the great time. You can just tell me, let me think about it and get back to you. And then provide some
Mm-hmm.
tools like, some writing prompts or, the conversation starters to get things going. So
Yes. Or
there's
even with the writing, when you brought up your notebook, a composition book, you can say, hey, this is a gift to you right now, as far as, putting down your thoughts in writing, and only things that you want me to know as far as you sharing. Because, like you said, it may be hard for you to communicate it or say it, but and if it's in writing, you may be the individual that it comes across through your writing, where I can read it and then I can take the time to um, interpret what is going on, what is this feeling, and then have a conversation. That may be something that also may be useful as well.
absolutely. So yes, I'm the only one besides her dad and siblings that her guard is down. We have great conversation and she doesn't communicate her feelings or speak with others. Yeah,
Oh,
she probably need to find um we're gonna start like this pen pal group. So maybe, maybe writing is her thing and she can start
Hmm.
creating connections through pen pals, like meet people like with a
Hmm.
notebook and get their information and either email them or write to them. And then
Hmm.
when she starts feeling comfortable and trust them, then be able
Yes.
to have conversations. So like probably needs to be a safe space. Maybe, face to face is just not good for her at first, so
Hmm.
maybe she needs to learn to trust.
Yes. Hmm. And in due time, it will come. It will come. It will
Yeah,
come.
it
And then, like I
will.
said, we've experienced something, of course, traumatic with the pandemic. So as a result, maybe flushing that out, getting, how she feels, because maybe there maybe might have been something that happened along the way. So as a result, just giving her that time and that space, and just always constantly reminding her that this is a safe space, this is a safe haven. So it's great that she has that opportunity as far as letting her guard down with mom, dad, and other siblings. So using that to your advantage as well.
Exactly. And like I have twin daughters. Again, one is very social and the other one's not. And so we just let her be, she's quiet and introspective, and she's the one that really takes some time to process. And so what she does, she just follows her sister around. And when her sister is talking to someone, she just joins in and listens to the conversation. And
Mm.
then eventually people will draw her in. So that's a great thing about having siblings or someone else to like that she can actually join their friend groups also and get her away to like feel comfortable and get to know the people that maybe her siblings are friends with. So that
Yes.
might be a thought.
Mhm.
Well, again, this was amazing. Connecting with you. You dropped so many gems. I loved it. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise. And again, if you want to get into contact with LaQuinda, and find more about her expertise when it comes to educational consulting, about her conscious connection, you can go to www.ladyquinenterprise.com, or you can email her at laquinda@laquindaenterprise.com, or feel free to give her a call at 404-490-0046. So thank you so
Yes.
much. It was a
You're
joy
so
having you.
you're so welcome. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and I look forward to your lives, everything, or the individuals that are speaking. I enjoy your world schooling. I enjoy everything. So thank you so much for
Thank
affording me
you.
this space. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, this is going to be here to watch the replay. So if you haven't caught it, friends, please share. Bring people to the group so they can hear, and watch LaQuinda's amazing information. And you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you so much. You too. Bye bye,
Yay,
everyone.
bye.
Bye.
So before we all leave, we have a special VIP sponsor, which you have seen, Innovation Academy. So we're going to do a quick commercial on them and stay around to get your free copy of a book. And also, we would love for you to stay around for the next couple minutes to find out how you can support this amazing podcast so that we can have more of this to come.